Welcome back to the Queen's Yanks channel. I definitely appreciate you viewing our content today. We're going to be mixing things up a little bit. So instead of our normal USMNT or QPR talk, today we're going to be looking into the Canadian Premier League. This is going to be the first video of at least 2, maybe 3 or more if you guys like these videos. We'll see how good they do. And so the Canadian Premier League's only been around for a few years. They started in 2019, and they had the unfortunate timing of their second real year being, in the COVID era. And they played a little bit of, I don't know if you guys remember the MLS is Back tournament last year, but the Canadian Premier League kind of just puts together something just so they could say they had a season. So for all intents and purposes, this is their second, currently going on, this is their second actual full season. And they put together a quality product, actually. They've got some decent names for coaching and players out there right now. So to get I wanted to start off with something fun, the first few videos. So today we're going to be ranking and the Canadian Premier League has, by the way, they have 8 teams currently, although they're looking to expand in the future. So we're going to be ranking the teams Crest from 8 to 1. Now, before we get started, I want to explain how I rank these Crest. So, 1, does it look good? I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory and pretty obvious. 2, do the colors and meanings go with the Crest? So, every crest has meanings behind it, some of them obvious, some of them not so obvious. So what I did as an outsider who's not from Canada, but just a fan of footy in general, I looked at the crest, I studied it, I wrote down what I could see in the crest, and then I actually read about what the meaning of the crest was. So then I went back and looked at it to see if I could see that after I read about it. If I could see it, you ranked a little bit higher on my list. If I couldn't see it, you ranked a little bit lower. So for example, my favorite crest out of all these teams, by far, is ranked at number 5 on my list, just because I do not see the things that are supposed to be in this crest. So, if you're a fan of these teams, or a fan of the Canadian Football League in general, I'm sorry, not the Canadian Football League, I completely went American there for a minute. The Canadian Premier League, please let me know how wrong I am on these. Let me know what you think of these crests as well. Let me know what your order would be. So I hope to get some interaction on this video to see what everybody else thinks of these crests too. So with that said, I'm going to try to leave as much space over here as possible so I can make these crests as big as possible so you could study them while I'm saying it. And you are going to see me looking down quite a bit because I have to read what these logos mean. I'm not going to remember. I promise I wish I could remember what all these mean, but I'm not going to be able to. So that said, number 8 on my list, Calgary FC. They're based in the Foothills County in Alberta, which is essentially Calgary. They're nicknamed the Cavs. So, and fair warning, I'm going to butcher some of these names, so just bear with me. This crest features a chevron in homage to Lord Strathcona's Horse Armored Regiment, the Alberta Foothills, the Rocky Mountains, and a football to represent the past and future of Calgary as a sporting city. So, I don't have anything bad to say about the crest. I can see the foothills. I can see the football. I'm assuming the Armored Regiment is the actual crest itself, but maybe I'm wrong. If I am, please let me know. So the reason this is so low is because it's just basic to me. There's nothing unique about it. Nothing stands out about it. It's just a plain white red logo, which maybe that's what it's supposed to be. I don't know, but either way, it comes in at number 8 on my list. So, moving right along to number 7, I have FC Edmonton. And they're based obviously in Edmonton, Alberta. They're nicknamed the Eddies, which I completely love that nickname, by the way. So, this crest includes representation of the North Saskatchewan River, and the letters double for the club's name and main beliefs, which are family, courage, and energy. The 2010 is the year the club was founded, and the single rabbit's foot in the base between the 20 and the 10. So, I don't have a problem with this logo. I think it's a nice logo, or a nice crest, I should say. But what gets me about this is when I looked at it, to me it just looks like a weird writing in the middle of a shield. And even reading about it, I still don't really, I'm assuming maybe the 2 at the top are supposed to be the rivers, or maybe that takes the shape of the rivers in Edmonton. I don't know. Let me know if you're from Edmonton. But either way, you know, what hurt this logo in my list was just the fact that if you're just looking at it from an outsider standpoint, it just looks like a weird symbol on a shield. Like that's all there is to it. I like the colors though. And I would like to add that I was going to explain the colors that went into these logos, or these crests I should say, but I'm going to save that for the kits, which is going to be the next videos when I rank the club's kits. So stay tuned for that one coming up. So moving right along to number 6, which is so far been the powerhouse of the Canadian Premier League, Forge FC. They're based in Hamilton, Ontario. They're nicknamed the Hammers, so a little bit of West Ham action. The crest is designed to represent both the H for Hamilton and the F for Forge. The open space in the lettering represents a waterfall, and the 3 orange sparks represent Forge FC's city, community, and club. So when I first pulled up this crest, obviously I see the H right away. I do see the 3 sparks, although I had no idea what they represented when I first looked at it. I'm assuming the lettering to the left is supposed to be an F, but it doesn't really have a prominent F in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with this. It's obviously a little different than the first 2 we've seen, as in it's not just a basic shield badge. I like it, but it's a little bit too bland for me, for lack of a better term. But hey, it fits Hamilton. I don't see the F, and that's why it hurt in my rankings. So we'll move right along to number 5, which is what I said at the beginning is my favorite by far. And that is Pacific Football Club. They are based in Langford, British Columbia, basically on the outskirts of Vancouver. They're nicknamed PFC, which isn't really much of a nickname, but you get it. The club's branding is designed to represent Vancouver Island. The team's crest is in the shape of a Douglas fir, a tree native to Vancouver Island, split into 2 segments with the right side forming the shape of the island. The tree is bordered by the ocean and includes a single chevron to represent a wave of the ocean and the V that can stand for Victoria, Victory, and Vancouver Island. That is amazing, but the only bad thing about this is I don't really see this. I can see the V's, I see what's the ocean, I don't see the Douglas fir whatsoever in this logo, and this is what bothers me the absolute most about this crest. If you are from Vancouver or a fan of this team, please tell me where I'm missing the Douglas fir at, because that is my favorite tree ever. I used to live in the Pacific Northwest, and I do not see this at all, but the colors to this badge are absolutely breathtaking in my opinion and fit the area so well. But because the fact that I just cannot see some of these things that this crest represents, I have to put it at number 5. But it is my personal favorite. So shout out to Pacific Football Club, and if you ever want to send me a shirt, I will gladly represent it in Las Vegas. So now let's move into the top half, the top 4. At number 4, I have York United. They're based in Toronto, Ontario. They're nicknamed the 9 Stripes. And after reading about it, I absolutely love what this crest represents. The crest shape is derived from the Queen's York Rangers, an army regiment based in Toronto and York region. The blue element on the top symbolizes Lake Ontario. The shield represents or features a YU monogram, and the 9 vertical stripes a nod to the club's nickname, the 9 Stripes. The crown at the top features a trillium and a maple leaf representing Ontario and Toronto respectively. So that said, it is a bit of a... There's nothing completely breathtaking about this logo, but it absolutely works. And the reason why I have this above Pacific FC's is because I actually can see what the crest means and the 9 stripes from everything on it. So I absolutely love this particular logo, crest, but of the ones that I completely see and understand, it's the least breathtaking in my opinion. But I absolutely love pretty much all these Canadian Premier League teams, uniforms and crests. I just want to say that. I'm not downing any of these. So at number 4 on my list, we got York United. So now we're going to get into the top 3. So taking bronze on my list is Valor Football Club. They're based in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And before I read about the logo itself, I want to tell you, when I first saw this and I saw the wheat on it, I instantly knew what the area and what this represented, and was hoping that's what that stood for, and I was correct. So kudos to whoever made this crest. So the club's identity is heavily linked to the story of Winnipeg's Valor Road, which, by the way, I do not know a thing about. It's named to recognize Corporal Leo Clark, Sergeant Major Frederick William Hall, and Lieutenant Robert Shankland, who all lived on the same street and received the Victoria Cross for acts of bravery during the First World War. The letter V in the center of the crest emulates a folded metal ribbon and also represents the meeting of the Red River and, I can't even pronounce this, Assiniboine River in Winnipeg. The right side of the V creates a W for Winnipeg. The circle under the V is in the shape of the Victoria Cross medal, and the wheat at the top of the crest represents Manitoba's agricultural industry. I can almost see every bit of that, and if I knew the story better and what that actually represented for the region in Canada, this crest may be number one. But because I don't and I'm unfamiliar with it, I have it at number 3, but I absolutely love the story and love what this crest represents. So moving on to number 2, I have the HFX Wanderers. They're based in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I could not find a nickname, so I'm not sure what unless just HFX is their nickname. So this is, and when we get to number 1, I'll explain number 1, but this, in my opinion, is the coolest crest in the league. The shape of the crest takes inspiration for Halifax Citadel. Located near the club stadium, the crest also includes the Angus MacDonald Bridge, which connects Halifax Peninsula to Dartmouth, and an anchor to represent the Atlantic Ocean in Halifax Harbor. Underneath the club's names reads Scottish Gaelic motto, I can't even pronounce that, which translates to our harbor, our home, our soul. Scottish Gaelic is used to signify Nova Scotia as one of the few remaining places where the language is still spoken. So I will say this, that last thing about Scottish Gaelic, I had no idea that was a thing in Halifax, and that's actually led me down a whole rabbit hole Googling some things about that. But the bridge is iconic to Halifax. Even if you don't know anything about the area, if you just Google it, you're going to see the bridge at some point. So that said, I love everything this crest represents. I think it completely takes the community and the city as a whole, and you can see it, every bit of it, in this crest. So that's why it comes in at number 2 on my list. Hell of a crest. So at number 1, without further ado, Atletico Ottawa. So I am a sucker for, I guess you could say, European crests, and Atletico Ottawa is obviously based in Ottawa, Ontario. Their nickname, and I like this nickname too. So Atletico is sometimes shortened or nicknamed Atleti. So they're nicknamed Atleti, which I found really kind of I get that reference. So the club's identity is based upon that of its parent club, Atletico Madrid. The crest features a blue silhouette of a peace tower on Ottawa's Parliament Hill. Underneath are red and white stripes invoking Atletico Madrid's crest and the Canadian flag. At the base of the crest is a maple leaf. So basically this is Atletico's Madrid's crest with a Ottawa flavor, and I guess the Ottawa flavor to me with the actual building and the Canadian maple leaf, to me it's all perfect, and it has the classic European crest mixed in with everything, and I love it. To me, you could not have been any more perfect with this. So shout out to Ottawa, or Atletico Ottawa. And if you're watching this video, Atletico, you got a fan here. I'm kind of torn between representing, or I guess I should say pulling for Pacific FC or Atletico Ottawa. So if any of you teams are watching this, by all means, tell me what you think of this video, and you might just win me over as a fan. So that said, those are my list, my opinion of the crest. If you think I got this completely wrong, please let me know. Tell me what your list is in the comments. I'm interested to see how this video does. If you feel like I'm completely crazy, want to rip me a new one, please comment and let me know. I know for sure I just didn't get some of the references in these crests, and I'll admit that. So let me know what I missed. And I'm really interested to hear from Pacific FC fans on where I'm missing the Douglas fir at. So that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. The next video is going to be ranking the kits and explaining the colors behind these teams. And you know, there's a couple tournaments coming up in the Canadian Premier League, so good luck to all these teams. And that said, till next time, everybody, and have a good week.